Well, let's move on here. We've got a question here from Dave. He says, if you're selling a game under your iTunes individual account as a sole proprietor, do you need a DBA to show another name as the maker? And his example, he says, can I release a game and then on the splash screen show a business name, even though I don't have an LLC or DBA by that name?
Sure. So that's a question. That's just an Apple policy question, and I did a little bit of digging ahead of this podcast just to confirm what I thought. But Apple's policy, and I think one of the other people in the chat had said that Google's is different, but Apple's policy is that you cannot. So there's two things. The splash screen is one thing that's within your app. The actual page where you're selling it is a different thing. Who's listed as the developer, right? And for Apple, I take it that you can either join their developer program as an individual, in which case they require you to use your legal name, or as an entity, as an organization. If you join as an organization, you can't use your DBA or a fictitious name. They need you to use your actual company name. So if you want to use a company name, you need to actually have an entity. And what that means is an LLC or a corporation. And you would be entering into the contract with Apple as that corporation or as that LLC, not as yourself individually. And that has various implications for liability because the entity that's signing is the one who's on the hook. And the whole point, one of the main points of a company, an LLC or a corporation, is to provide a liability shield. It's just the company that's at risk, not your personal assets if something goes horribly wrong. I think that's a fairly straightforward one. You can go and look if you search on Apple's website. They kind of lay that out in their policy about their.
But is it fair then to say that you could put something on your splash screen, but not necessarily the developer page? Is that what we're saying?
I believe so. I mean, the splash screen, that's within the app, right? So that's just whatever you want to say, right? You can call yourself whatever you want inside the app, but Apple will not let you, as far as Apple is concerned, and as far as me, as a consumer going on in the App Store, I will see if you signed up as an individual, you'll have to use your personal name, and I will see your name as the developer. Once I launch the app, it might say whatever, whatever the name of your company is. That's fine with your logo. That's great. But Apple. That's a question of Apple's policy, and apparently they don't allow you to do that.
Okay. And from my own personal experience, as you say, if you're not looking for a liability shield or whatnot, a DBA is, from my experience, again, has been fairly simple to get, just because
that varies by state. So a DBA or fictitious name is something that each state has different rules on. Usually there's some paperwork that you have to file. You just have to find a name that isn't taken. It may involve getting a business license of some sort. Most states, that information is pretty easy to find on their Secretary of State website. So again, Google is your friend here. It's not an arcane procedure, right? They want people to be able to do it fairly easily. So